Let's protect teamwork with governance and security.
All right. So here's our agenda for today. We're just going to cover some high-level topics. Really, there's a lot of complexity and a lot of switches and things to control. So just want to give you a high-level overview of all the things that you need to think about when you get started on your team's adventure.
If you're interested in where is this chat being stored or where is this file being stored, that information is captured separately, but to some degree this shows some of the flow as well as some of those locations. Oh boy, I'm starting to see my team sprawl. We were on with a customer a couple days ago where they were like, yeah, we've already created 12 sites and 2 of the sites have the same name. Which one's the right one? And they're at 12 sites. Wait till they get to 100, right? So, I think we had used this as a slide in Teams 101, and I think Tim's kind of bringing it back just to kind of get your brains warmed up with regards to some of the areas you're going to want to be thinking about.
Just as a follow-up to that slide, I found a whole list of different things that kind of tie in right to the previous slide. So these are all the different ways that you can govern your data. So it's archiving, it's compliance, retention, data loss prevention, conditional access, advanced threat protection. So all of these things you see here have a role in how you can govern your data. So start out with creation. So Bruce mentioned it earlier. As of right now, there is no governance over site naming. So you can have the exact same team site name. So I actually did a little demonstration here. I created some HR, human resources, or the official HR site. It's all arbitrary if you don't have a plan in place. So some decision points around this. We talked about naming conventions. We talked about using a policy. Well, what about classifications? But you could set classifications like low impact, medium impact, high impact, or internal, external, confidential, highly confidential. And that would allow you to classify your site, and then you can use retention policies or data loss prevention policies to govern the data within that site. And then, guest access can get very complicated, right? To enable guest access, you have to do it through the Teams admin console. You have to go into Azure Active Directory. You have to go into Office 365 groups. So that just to get it enabled is a complicated process. And then once you have it enabled, what do you want guests to have access to? Calling, meetings, messaging, all those need to be decided. And then who can enable guest access? A Teams admin can do it, and a team owner can do it. So you really have to have all that locked down before you start allowing guest access.
That's good.
The next area I want to talk about is expiration. So some things you can do here. You can predefine an expiration policy. Now I have my site set to expire, but in the background I have a retention policy that won't let it go away. And then another way to handle that is just to archive a site.
The good news is getting this process down early, not in your first 10 sites, but ideally in your first 10 sites, you've kind of given some thought to it. It doesn't negate you from being able to create sites and getting going quick. But these are some things that are going to bite you down the road when you get to 100 sites. When you get to something that really requires some management and some thought, these are areas where naming convention and things of that nature are really going to take foot.
So next area is features. You have the ability on a per tenant basis or a per user basis to decide who has access to those features. And then on top of that, there are applications. So I just checked this morning and there were over 400 third-party applications that are available for Teams. So how are you going to control those features and those applications? Is it just everybody? Is it by user? And then there's a lot of policies that go into controlling that. So, you've gone through all of that planning around, right? Creation, exploration, features, and what are those next steps, right? You need to document your decisions. You need to lay out a plan of how that's going to roll out, and then you need to communicate to your users, right? Where do we go next? We have an envisioning and readiness project that we can come out and do for you. I know we've been getting a lot of questions recently about remote access, which teams can be a player in remote voice.
Certainly appreciate everyone's time today. Teams governance, not necessarily always the most exciting topic, but I think it's appropriate to do as people are kind of running, running into some of these technologies, if you will, and things have accelerated. We hate to see knee-jerk projects, right? A year. Thank you guys all very much, and everyone have a great day and stay healthy.